Okay, today we're going to be administering the Montreal Cognitive Assessment, otherwise known as the MoCA. You're going to need this sheet here. Initially, your client will have the sheet so they can complete the first couple items here, and then you will be taking it for scoring and for the completion of the rest of the screening. For the first part, visual, spatial, or executive, they're going to be doing an alternating trail making task. So I would give this sheet to my client and say, please draw a line going from a number to a letter in ascending order. Begin here. I point to the number 1. Draw a line from 1, then to A, 2, and so on. And end here. And I point to the E. And it says begin and end on that sheet there. When you're scoring this item, so I'm going to go ahead and let her do that. And when you're scoring this item, you're looking for them to draw a line going 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D, 5E, without drawing any lines that cross over each other. Any error that is not immediately self-corrected is going to cause that item to be scored as incorrect. For the second portion, the cube copying is still considered part of the visual spatial executive area. They're going to be drawing the cube and just copying it in the space below. So you just go ahead and tell your client, copy this drawing as accurately as you can in the space below. And so she's going to do that there.
I think you have to take into account drawing ability here, because I'm not good at it. But I guess the basic idea is what you're trying to look for.
Right. So you're looking for the idea that it's 3-dimensional, so she can't just draw a square. We're looking that all of the lines are drawn that are there, and there's no additional lines added, as well as that they're relatively parallel and consistent in lengths. But of course, we're not looking for perfection because none of us can do that. Okay. For the last part of the visual spatial and executive section, we're going to be looking at the clock. So I'm going to tell her that I want her to draw a clock, put in all the numbers, and set the time to 10 past 11. So for this item, you're going to be looking at several different criteria for scoring. We're going to be looking at contour, so making sure that it is a circle, that it's not, again, that it's relatively symmetrical, looking like a circle, not looking like an oval or any obscure little additions. You're also going to be looking at numbers. In this test, it does allow for Roman numerals, but you want to make sure they're in the right order, relatively in the right location, and that they can be within the circle or outside of the circle, but they need to be relatively in the correct place. And then the last item is the hands, that they're joined at the center and that they're pointing at the correct time. Also that the one is shorter than the other to indicate the correct time.
Yeah, this is also the item on this screening. You know, this is a screening within itself, but something that we have learned is that you can use just the clock drawing task to be a mini screening within the screening if you're pressed for time, because it gives you a lot of information about their cognitive abilities.
So that item, those are the 3 different points that you can give for them, and then you're going to collectively look at all 5 items for visual spatial executive. So then so at this point, I'm going to be taking the sheet from her. I'm probably going to have some sort of clipboard so that it's not revealed to her. I'm going to go ahead and grade that part of it, write that down. And then the next portion, I'm going to be asking her to look at some pictures of animals. So you can see them here in this area. And I'm going to be asking her to tell me the name of the animals. So go ahead and tell me the name of this animal.
The lion.
Tell me the name of this animal.
I think that's a hippopotamus.
Okay. And tell me the name of this animal.
Camel.
Camel. Great job. So in this, she had gotten the lion. She said this was a hippopotamus, but it's a rhinoceros. and this is the camel. So she would receive 1 point for each of the ones that she got correct. So in this item, she would have gotten 2 out of 3. Pretty straightforward. Okay. At this point, I'm going to go on to the memory section of the test, and I'll give her the following instructions. This is a memory test. I'm going to read a list of words that you will have to remember now and later on. Listen carefully. When I'm through, tell me as many words as you can remember. It doesn't matter what order you say them in.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to say face, velvet, church, daisy, red.
Okay. Face, velvet, church, daisy, red.
Okay. And when she's finished responding to those items, whether or not she's completed them or she's indicated that she doesn't remember anymore, then you read the list again to them a second time and ask them to repeat the words again, including the words that they said the last time. So I'm going to read the words to you again. Just go ahead and tell me what you remember, including what you told me last time. Okay? Face, velvet, church, daisy, red.
And you just want me to repeat them again? Okay. Church, face, velvet, daisy, red.
Great job. So you can go ahead and indicate which items she remembered. So for both trials, she remembered all items, even though they were not in the same order. That would be marked as correct. But they do not receive any points for this section because we're looking at the recall later on. So that will come back later. But you do want to mark to make sure that you can note whether or not they were able to recall them the first time in the immediate response. And if they do, like we just did, if they do remember all items in the first trial, you do want to complete that second trial because that's going to be helping to solidify that memory for later on when we do the recall.
So that's more determining the baseline for their memory skills. Can they remember it immediately versus 5 minutes from then?
Right. All right. So the next section is for evaluating attention abilities. I'm going to say some numbers, and when I'm through, I want her to repeat them to me exactly as I said them. Okay? 2, 1, 8, 5, 4.
2, 1, 8, 5, 4.
Great job. Now I'm going to be reading some numbers to her, and I would like her to respond with those numbers backwards.
Okay.
7, 4, 2.
Okay. 2, 4, 7.
Right. So that's just a short one. Again, it's just correct or incorrect. But they do have to be in the order indicated. Okay. For the next item, I'm going to read a list of letters. I want you to tap each time that you hear the letter A.
Okay.
Okay? If I say a different letter, I do not want you to tap your hand.
Okay.
Okay? F, B, A, C, M, N, A, J, K, L, B, A, F, A, K, D, E, A, J, A, M, O, F, A, B. All right. And if she does have the opportunity to make errors in this portion, but if she has more than 2 errors, greater than or equal to 2 errors, then she would not receive the point for that item. So she can make 1 error and still receive the points for that. All right. For this next one, I'm going to have her subtracting 7 from starting at 100. Okay. So can you start at 100? Can you subtract 7 for me?
84.
Okay. All right. From 93, can you subtract 7 for me?
63.
All right. What about from 86? Can you subtract 7 for me?
74.
All right. What about from 79? Can you subtract 7?
67.
Okay. And last one, can you subtract from 65 for me?
52.
Okay. So she would not receive any points for that. What we're looking for here is 4 or 5 correct subtractions. She would receive 3 points. If she received 1 wrong, then she could still receive all 3 points. For 2 points, she would have to have at least 2 to 3 correct, and for 1 point, she would have to have 1 correct.
Mm-hmm.
If she did not have any correct, she would not receive any points for that item. The next portion is based on language. We're going to have her repeating a sentence for me. Okay? I'm going to read you a sentence. Repeat it after me exactly as I say it.
Okay.
I only know that John is the one to help today.
Okay. I only know that John is the one to help today.
Okay. Now I'm going to read you another sentence. Repeat it after me exactly as I say it.
Okay.
The cat always hid under the couch when the dogs were in the room.
Okay. The cat always hid under the couch to hide from the dogs.
Okay, thank you. So for the first item, she was able to respond with the completely accurate sentence, and so we would be able to give her 1 point for that. For the second item, she was able to give me the correct concept, but she didn't repeat it exactly as I said it, so the item would not be marked correct, and she wouldn't receive a point for that. So for language, in that portion, she would only receive 1 out of 2 points. The next portion is verbal fluency, which continues to fall under language. For this section, I'm going to tell her to name as many words as you can that you can think of that begin with a certain letter of the alphabet that I'm going to tell you in a moment.
Okay.
You can say any kind of word you want, except for proper nouns like Bob or Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Numbers are words that begin with the same sound but have different suffix. For example, love, lover, loving.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you to stop after 1 minute.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. Now tell me as many words that you can think of that begin with the letter F.
Okay. Fun, ferret, free, funny, finicky, frolic, a fan, floss, franchise, funds, fundraising, fickle.
So we'll stop her there. So you would give her a full minute, so you make sure that you have a timer prepared that you can do that. The goal here is that she's able to produce at least 11 words that begin with the letter F that were able to fall under the criterion that we were listed before. And if she is able to do so, then she would receive the point for that item.
And I did repeat some that had the same suffix, so if they make that mistake, you have to
take that into account.
Keep them saying it for longer, see if they can get those 11 words.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The next portion is about abstraction. So we're going to be listing a pair of words, and we're going to be asking her what they have in common.
Okay.
So, tell me how an orange and a banana are alike.
They are both types of fruit. They are both kind of tropical fruits.
Mm-hmm. So we're looking for her to say fruit, and she went into further detail. So that was kind of the example for her to be able to probe so that she could understand more had she not understood the item. So that doesn't count for any points. But the next item is how how are a train and a bicycle alike?
You use both of them for transportation. They both have wheels. People ride on both of them.
Great. How are a watch and a ruler alike?
You use both to measure things. One measures time, one measures a length or a distance. They have numbers and integers.
Great. So, again, only the last two items are scored, and if she was able to give appropriate responses, then she would receive 1 point. So for a train, we were looking for either a means of transportation, traveling, or that you were able to take trips on both. So she did say transportation, and she included that they both have wheels. Had she only said that they both have wheels, that would not have been an appropriate response. For a ruler and watch, we're looking at that they're measuring instruments or that they're used to measure something along those lines. She also said that they both have numbers. That is not appropriate if that was the only thing that she had said, but she just included that as additional information. Okay, so the next item is that she is going to recall the information that we told her earlier. So I read some words to you earlier, which I asked you to remember. Tell me as many of those words as you can remember.
Church, red, velvet, face. I think that's all I remember.
Okay, so she was able to remember 4 of the 5 words. She is going to receive 1 point for each word that she was able to recall without any cueing. If we would like to, we're able to look at a cued response to see if she was able to remember it. So for the one that she missed, which was Daisy, I'm able to first prompt her with a category cue. So I can say, do you remember it was a type of flower? And then if she still does not remember, we can look at a multiple choice cue. So I could say, was it a rose? Was it a daisy? Was it a tulip? And then she can tell me which one that was.
Hopefully pick Daisy.
And hopefully pick Daisy. But no points are allocated for that. That's just for your own personal usage, if you want to look at that.
To see if they're given a cue, can they respond to something?
Right. So that's more for clinical assistance rather than for actual test administration. So that portion is optional. And then the last item that we would be working with is the orientation. So I'm going to ask her to tell me the date for today.
August 2nd, 2016.
Great. If she wasn't able to tell me like the exact or complete answer, I could prompt her by saying, tell me the year, month, exact date, day of the week, all of that information. Now tell me the name of this place and which city we're in.
We're in Michigan, and we're in the speech clinic.
Right. So she wasn't able to tell me the exact city, but she did know that we were in the speech clinic. But we would probably be looking for a more specific answer than that for our location. So then at the end of all of that, you're just going to be summing up all of the sub-scores that you have on the side here. Hopefully you've been keeping track of that as you've gone along. And if she has equal to or greater than 12 years of education, so that's completing high school, then we would add an additional point to that value, and that's scored out of 30. And then you can go look at your normative values. Make sure you add all of her identification information here at the top, and then you can look for if it's equal to or greater than 26 points, then we're looking at a normal score. If it's lower than that, you're going to have to look at the normative data and see what that's going to tell you for testing, and you're going to be looking at further evaluations then.
So it's a quick little test. This is only going to take you about 10 minutes depending on what kind of patient you have and how fast they respond. And especially, we've gone through and explained all of it, so it's probably going to take you 10 or 15 minutes, which is great when you have a patient that has been sitting in a hospital bed for a long time and lots of other people are coming to see them. But it's nice because it's quick and all your information stays in one place on the one sheet, and you're able to get a lot of information about your patient from it in that short amount of time. So
That's good. Thank you.